What are the odds of that? A Kohler with a lifter noise. Hey guys, welcome to another video. You heard that tapping? Kohler. Valve train problem. These have hydraulic lifters, like a car. They're supposed to be quiet, supposed to be maintenance free. As long as you keep your oil changed with the right viscosity oil, they should be not a problem. They're a problem. This one's got a collapsed lifter, I'm thinking. I've tried a few things. I've already gotten into the front of this engine and the lifter wasn't pumped up. The exhaust one is, but the intake one was not. Yeah, I'm not lying. That's correct. So basically, the lifter is not opening the valve properly, but it's noisy. So we're gonna have to get into it. I've tried a couple of things. I did change the oil. I put 10W30 in there. Didn't clear it up. It was really black and thick when I bought the tractor, so I thought maybe it was just plugged up. Tried 1030. Didn't fix it. Put a little splash of seafoam in there. Sometimes that'll clear up some passages, the oil passages to pump the lifter up with oil pressure. That didn't help either. So yeah, I gotta get a lifter. I mean, you can buy a lifter for a small block Chevy for $6, but these are $27 each. And they're half the size. So let's pop that front cover off there. I want to show you what I'm talking about with the collapsed lifter. Ooh, she's warm because I ran it. Get you guys zoomed in a little bit here. Got to loosen a couple of brackets off. Get you zoomed. Whoa, oh, slow down. Okay, that should be good. Let's get this off. We'll get that loose anyways. Then you gotta take the valve cover off. Oh, this thing is gonna pour oil out of it. That out of the way. What are we gonna put underneath there? There's gonna be oil everywhere. I'm sure that won't hold it. I did have this valve cover off last night, so this silicone shouldn't be too rock solid. How was it? Oh, solid enough. Rubber mallet. There we go. Get in there. Oh yeah, out comes oil. Yep, I was right. It's everywhere. Of course it is. Oh, and there's a lot. Jeez. See the steam? Yep, it's hot. So, we're going to roll this engine around here. We're going to turn it till the exhaust valve is all the way open. That should mean that our intake valve is all the way up or closed. So I'm just going to reach underneath here and grab the crank pulley. Didn't take the plug out of it, so there's our exhaust all the way down. There's no clearance at the valve, which is fine, that's normal, but I can also push the lifter down. Shouldn't be able to push that lifter down that easy. Let's flip it over to the other way and I'll show you. There's the intake valve open. Exhaust valve should be all the way closed. See, I can't push on the push rod side where the lifter is in the bottom. I can't push that down. It's pumped up, it's full. The lifter is full the way it should be. Go back to this one. Man, the plug's still in it. So the exhaust valve's all the way open now. This one should be solid, and it's not. I can rock it. The lifter, she no good. New lifter. Gotta order it. Something else a little interesting that I found. Back this up. So this wire, all this mess, there's a bunch of it. It was tied around and around the air filter, air cleaner housing, and up under the shrouding because it's broken. It's supposed to be 2 pieces of plastic here with a bolt basically down the center to hold everything together, and it's gone. She's broken. Now, I see some dirt in there, which isn't a good sign, but it is what it is. We're going to get her going anyways. It doesn't smoke, it doesn't burn oil, so it's got lots of compression, so it hasn't damaged the engine yet. But the air filter's junk. Luckily, I have a blown up Kohler engine on the floor. Got a 12.5, oh jeez, fell. Got a 12.5 horse Kohler sitting there. Where'd it go? There it is. That's a blown up 12.5 Kohler out of a STX 38 John Deere, but it uses the same air filter housing. So I'm just gonna grab that off of this one and put it on the other machine. Camshaft's worn out in that one again. I put a cam in it, it wore out again. I don't know, so I just swapped the engine. I'm not putting another camshaft in there. It cost me more for a cam than it did for an engine. All right, so we'll get some parts here, get into this lifter job, and we'll close this video because we're just going to do the lifter on this one, and we'll do the refurb on this tractor after. All right, so I've gone ahead a little bit ahead of you guys. It's been 1 second for you, been about a week for me. I got my parts in and got tractor back in and started pulling apart. So let's zoom in a little bit here and I'll just show you what I've done. I know you're off center, but that's fine. I've already done a fuel valve here and a new fuel filter. The old one was doing its job. It was full of black garbage. So I put a new fuel filter in there and a new valve. Well, I didn't have a valve, I put a valve in it because I take the fuel line off the carburetor. Now we're going to take these two off to get the air cleaner off, and then we'll pull the carburetor off. I've already got the exhaust dropped down and loose. Well, it's out of the way. So let's pull that carb off and move on. Where'd my tools go now? 10 millimeters. That should just pop off. Yep, whole air cleaner assembly with this breather hose. Now, there's a little clip here. You can unclip the clip. Get. Oh, get. So that clip pushes up, and then the rod, the throttle rod will come out. There we go. Pop straight out. Then you can slide the carb off the engine. And then you can get this governor rod unhooked. Yeah, and drip fuel all over the place. There we go. Oh, there's a ground here. That's a 8 millimeter. There we go. That's a ground for the solenoid. There we go. We'll set this out of the way. Actually runs really good. I'm probably not going to bother cleaning this carburetor all out. It does run okay. It's just noisy. Ticky. It's ticky. Okay, so that could probably stay. The shielding on the front came off pretty simple. Just a couple of bolts, the whole shield comes off. Valve cover's already off. Like I said, I jumped ahead. Exhaust is off, carb's off. All this stuffs are out of the way. So we should be able to get this cylinder head off here too. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. And then the whole head should come out. I should probably take the rockers off. I don't have to typically take the rockers off because they'll come off with the head. So we'll just take them off. Oh, you know what? I wanted to show you that. This is what we're trying to fix. This one's solid. That lifter's collapsed. It has no pressure. This one's running. That's the ticking noise. I'm just going to set these on the bench in the order I'm taking them off. There's a torque spec on those. These are non-adjustable valves. They're hydraulic lifters, non-adjustable. Give that a spin. Yeah, it's nice and straight. Nice and straight. I'm going to check that with a magnet. I'm not sure. Nope, both steel. It's a Briggs. That's one's aluminum and one's steel. Because these are hydraulic lifters, these have, where are you looking? There you go. Because these are hydraulic lifters, these have holes right through the push rods. That actually come out, oil pressure comes out of that and goes onto the rocker from the lifter. I got the lifters in a package over there, and they actually look like small block Chevy lifters. They're pretty close. Pretty close. Now these are going to be tighter. I'll get the other impact gun. A little 3/8 cordless jobber. I'm just going to crack things loose. Whoa, not that one. That might need the big gun. Wow, that one is tight. Huh. I'll get a big ratchet first. Crack it with a ratchet. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that one was tight. Huh. There we go. All right, all loose. It's got some sealer on it. That one's got some spacers and adapters. Just to make sure they go in the same spots. All the same length. I'm running out of room. Ready? Cylinder head's off. It's carbony in there. Carbony in there. I'll scrape that and clean it. Replace the head gasket. Wow, that's a lot of carbon in there. I had a Craftsman a short time ago. Fired it up, ran good, no noise, and all of a sudden it's bang, 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 bang. It's hammering inside there. What it turned out to be was a chunk of carbon fell off the piston and was smashing into the head. It was pretty loud. Alrighty, that's that. The reason we took the head off is because we cannot get the lifters out from there through the cylinder head. I'm going to reach in there with a magnet, see if I can just pull them out. Like that. Here we go. There's a lifter. Looks very similar to a small block Chevy. Very, very similar. Now, we only had one noisy one. I did buy a pair. They're 20, I don't know, 30-ish something dollars each. I don't remember. I don't remember. We look down there and see the camshaft. The camshaft lobes. Nothing looks scored. Nothing looks all marked up in garbage. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to grab my lifters out of the packaging, get them prepped, and we'll jump back on. So I like to soak my lifters a little in some 10W30, let them fill up. Are we going to see a bubble? Yeah, you just see there's little tiny holes on the side of those lifters. One right there, one right there. If you let them soak long enough, you get all the bubbles out of them. And that makes sure that the lifter's got some oil in it. Oh, bubble just popped on the bottom. Oh, bubble just went on those. Did you see it? Hang on, I want to show you guys something else too. Okay, remember I told you guys the lifters push oil up the pushrod tubes and out onto the top of the rockers? Well, that oil falls down to the bottom here and rolls back through this channel at the bottom and goes through that little hole at the very bottom there. Check that when you're working on these things, because especially if you have an oil leak problem, if it's leaking out of the valve cover repeatedly, that little hole gets plugged up. That's an oil return hole. So once the oil falls to the bottom of that channel, it goes through that little hole back to the crankcase. If that hole is plugged, it allows the oil to come up too high, way too high. And the oil stays in the valve cover, which you don't want it to do. You want everything to drain out that little hole. Anyways, poke that with a oh geez, that's not, there we go. That little hole. This one was full of junk. Little one at the bottom. Right, I figured to do a little bit of education on hydraulic lifters, because unless you've worked on a Kohler before, you've worked on mechanical and rockers and adjustable push rods. This is hydraulic, so this sits in a bore. This is the camshaft side, that is your push rod side. This groove here is open to oil pressure, and that goes in that little hole right there. Oil pressure goes in here and pushes on the back side of this plunger. This plunger is currently spring loaded up and the push rod sits on top. So when you torque those rocker bolts down to whatever spec it is, the push rod actually pushes that plunger down just a little bit. So it's not topped out, it's pushed it down a little bit. It has a certain amount of travel. So it pushes down a little bit and it keeps constant pressure on that push rod and the rocker. So there's no clearance, basically. It's zero lash. There'll be no 4, 5, 6 thousandths of an inch to adjust anything. They go in, they they push the plunger down a certain amount, and then that's where they stay. So what we've got is a lifter that's not staying pumped up. It's this one. I can push that in with my finger. This one, I can't even move it. This one here has lost its prime, and it's letting, this is going to be pushed up on by the cam real quick, and it's bottoming the push rod out in its travel of the plunger. That's the way that works. Okay, my lifters are done their oil bath. Oil bath. How many people knew that there was a time that you had to change the oil in your air cleaner on your car? Shoot me a comment down below if you've ever had to change the oil on your car's air filter. I'm going to get my lifters out of the bath, give them a little bit of a wipe, and I've got some assembly lube to put on the bottom of them where it touches the cam, because you want to have some really good lubricant there when you fire it up. That way the cam can lap itself into the lifter. Another thing, more lifter education. The camshaft lobe is egg-shaped this way, but it's also canted just a little to one side. And the reason for that is it'll ride off center on the bottom of this lifter and actually turn it. It'll rotate it. So that's a flat tappet cam, flat tappet lifter. The roller ones, anything with a roller on the bottom here, they're going to have to be located so they can't turn. Otherwise, it'll just demolish the camshaft. So this is a standard flat tappet cam, and they actually do rotate in their bore slowly and very small amount. They do rotate though. What that does is it promotes better wear on the longevity on the bottom of your flat tappet Okay, I'm gonna get my new lifters in there. Okay, got my new lifter prepped. Got that new assembly lube on there. Comes with a little tube. Come on, focus. They call it Fixotropic. I've never heard of it. I'm gonna put them in the same way I took them out. Use this magnet in the center of the plunger there to help guide it. And give her a little wiggle. Boop, down to the cam it goes. All right, that's that one. The other one is on the bench. Little guiding. That's not doing that. Pick. Needs a little assistance. All right, straight in she goes. Lifters are installed. That's all, just a magnet. That's all I used, that's all I needed. We can get this surface cleaned off. I'm gonna do that. Well, we're here. Might as well just eyeball that bore. Have a look-see. The engine turned over a little. There we go. Oh, still got crosshatch in there. Nice. No scoring, no staining, no weird marks. Everything is still in good shape in there. Looks good. Get that piston up to the top dead center. I'm gonna scrape most of that carbon off of there. Clean the cylinder head. Put the cylinder head on. Torque to spec. And then we're gonna see if this thing does a rappy tap tap when I fire it up. Let me get that cleaned up. You don't need to watch me do that. Give me a minute. Okay, I've got things loosely assembled. Cylinder head's on. I've got the bolts run down. They're not tight yet, but they're run down. And we're going to torque this down in 2 stages. Your end torque is 30 foot-pounds, but we're going to go to 15 and then 30. Where is my socket? Well, I'll grab another one. Okay. Let's go to 15. So you're supposed to just alternate your pattern. So there's 5 bolts. Torque them like a wheel. Skip one, torque one, skip one, torque one. There's 5. Okay. And I got to switch to a different torque wrench to get to the 30. Do the same thing over and over again. There's 30. I'm just going to go over them again. And 5. Okay, relax your torque wrench after when you're done using it so it doesn't go out of calibration so fast. The push rods and rockers are assembled. Nothing is tight there yet, though. The torque spec on those is 100 inch-pounds. So I've got everything assembled loosely and bottomed the bolts out so there's 0 lash. There's no lash, and there's just a tiny 1/16 of an inch of thread left showing behind the rocker. So what we have to do is we'll run that down, and what that's doing is centering that plunger in the lifter as we discussed earlier. I hope you were paying attention because we've gone over it. Let's get this rolled back to 100 inch-pounds. There we go. And you don't want to whale down on these things. On a hydraulic lifter, give it a second. Just small increments, that's all I'm going to do. Give it a second to push any extra oil out if it's gonna. You don't want to have the thing topped out and open too far. So we're just going slow here. Now these lifters I can push with my fingers. So they're just bottomed. Let's give her a push to 100 inch-pounds, 100 inch-pounds. Now, oh no, it's just like before. No. The idea is the oil pressure will pump up that lifter and the oil will go into the lifter and retain the plunger out in its right position. So, brand new lifters, it's quite normal to do that. I'm going to clean up the RTV off of here. Put the exhaust back on. We'll put the carburetor back on. I'm going to put some 10W30 flavored oil in it, because the thinner the oil, the easier it is for the lifters to pop up. And we're going to see what happens. So let me clean that. I'll get the valve cover put back on. I'll get the shielding put back on. Get the carburetor put back on. Muffler put back on. I think the next thing we're going to cut to on video is cranking the key. See you then. Back together. You guys ready? I don't know what's going to happen. I know the lifter is going to be noisy at first. Hopefully the fresh oil put in there will pump those lifters up and they'll stop the ticking and it'll be quiet. So let's try that. Fuel on. Oil's full. This is a fresh oil filter. I've already changed the oil once. Still good. I'm not going to change it again. It's new. It's going to probably smoke. There's oil on the muffler. So let's see. Oh. Huh. That's not quiet. Okay, I'm going to give that a minute to let that smoke off, and we'll fire it up again, see if the noise goes away. I don't like it so far, but let's see what happens. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear the difference, but the tick is pretty well gone. I shut it off, let it sit for 10 minutes, fired it up, and it's been idling away here for 5-10 minutes. The tick is gone. Sounds normal again. Perfect. I did set the yellow mixture a little richer because it was a little surgy. But yeah, runs good. Tick is gone. The tick is gone. No ticky-tock. Perfect. All right, guys, you're going to see more of this tractor because we still have to do the refurb on it, but we started with the camshaft job, or the lifter job. Got a little education on lifters, which is always nice when you learn something. Thanks for joining me on this video, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I get a lot of views, even from the regulars. I get a lot of views, but the likes, the thumbs up are just not there. Let's get the thumbs up there. Thanks again, guys. Till the next one, take care.